Yo, Choi here. So today is starting with the part 1 of the UUK vampire review. For those of you wondering why I took the first 2 videos down that I did a review of the UUK vampire on, is because I believe that I lacked a lot of the questions that you guys were asking me after that videos were posted. So I'm hoping that I'll get all those answered away on this video and 2 other videos that's gonna come after. I'm gonna tell you guys this is gonna be in sequence because I do have one of my brothers coming tomorrow to train with me, and at the same time we'll also be able to get a paired review done with the trainer, and also I'll get to get his thought on the UK vampire. He's handled a lot of my blades before, and he's also a senior instructor at the House of Black Trans Society, and along with Floro fighting systems. So he'll be able to give you a lot of good insight that I may miss. So there you go, guys. Let's get on with this. Alright guys, this is the UK vampire. And when you order it directly from my brother Laci Szabo, shout out to Laci, how's it going, brother? You get this and this awesome Keating sheath. That is absolutely perfect for this. Now, many of you guys have asked me, the first question that I got from you guys when I posted the first video was, what is the dimension? So I'm going to actually get on with that. I did some measuring before I started this. So from the tip of the blade, the kisaki, all the way to the cutting edge is about 6.5 inches. And from the tip all the way down to the guard is actually about, give or take, about 7.75 inches, so almost close to 8 inch. And when you go from the tip all the way to the skull crusher punyo, that is actually about, I say if you count the skull crusher punyo, it's about 12.5 inches. Now keep in mind, guys, that UUK is not a curved blade. This is the misconception that many of you guys have made, saying, well, it's probably got a curve, so it cuts better. Not necessarily. What it is, the UK is a straight blade with a 30-degree cant. So if you actually calculate the cant also, overall length of this blade will come to somewhere between 13 point, give or take, about 5 to almost 14 inches. So relatively in the same arena and the category in length, in dimension, as that of the US Marine Corps combat bayonet. Semper Fi to all you Marines. Not surprising because Laci's a Marine, and this, that particular blade and also the length of it, I still believe is the most optimal length blade for combat applications. So enough of that. Let me tell you guys the key features of the UK vampire that you cannot get in any other blade. One is the blade design. Shout out to my brother Keith and my goddaughter Abigail. How y'all? Hopefully everything's going well and you guys having a great day also. They're right now vacationing in Florida, so hopefully everything's well. Now, Keith said this when he got a chance to handle it before he took off. He was telling me that, hey G, that's almost like a Bowie blade in reverse. And that's actually very, very true, and not surprising because Laci and I are both Comtech Bowie instructors under our teacher, Master Arms James A. Keating. Shout out to Uncle Jim. So that's not a surprising fact on it. Now, what makes the UK vampire so unique is that, one, it's the only blade of its kind that you do not lose reach at any given grip. And also with the UK, even from the original UK, the vampire is exactly the same truth, is that, one, you always hit point first. Now, beauty of that is that means that regardless of the attack initiated, you will most likely be attacking with the point, which is actually how you want to fight to achieve maximum distance with any given technique. And if you could get a thrust in that managed to hit the point first and just shift your body weight into it, that's how you create a perfect thrust, like you would with that of Comtech. And also very true in Floro fighting systems and essential Calisto Strissimo, because in EKI, our number 1 and our number 2 is very difficult to distinguish because they're exactly the same in almost angle. What is the difference is, one is a cut, two is a thrust. So basically, if the one is initiated like this, two is simply where once it makes contact with the point, I simply lean my body weight into the tack to create that, generate that thrust, and without canting or breaking wrists. Because if you have any experience in thrusting, well, those of you who have never sparred or been in any situation where you thrusted anything, grab a plywood. If you have a standing target board, make it if you can, and simply put your weight into it and cant your wrist and try to thrust it. What you'll find is you will mess up your wrist with a ridiculous injury that will last for a lifetime if it's not corrected. One of many reasons why in Floro fighting systems, shout out to my teacher and my brother, Master Raymond Floro. Ray, how's everything in Australia? Congrats again. So, there you go. With Ray's experience, what he tells us that he got it from the HEMA folks and how they generate their thrust, and that is without breaking their wrist, and that actually you could generate so much power, put more power in it without the worry of, well, seriously messing up your wrist. So that's how we attack in Floro fighting systems and EKI. And beauty of this is that if you know how to time it, oh my god. If you see me spar, box out, and thrust, that's one of my favorite combinations to use along with 3 and 4. But you can execute that beautifully with UUK Vampire like no other way. Same goes for contact buoy techniques that I absolutely adore and love, which is the contact back cuts. We can use, I know number 3 like this is a bit difficult, but one of my favorite techniques in sparring, especially in the old days, is using angle 1 to bait, and then purposely leaving my side open, and as my opponent will try to seize on that opportunity, simply take a step back while executing number 3 with the back cut. That's how I'll usually set it up for counter. But if I want to make it into more of an offensive, all I do is I'll throw him from here, broken rhythm, and I'll chase him in with 1, and I'll take a step forward and then execute that back cut with the number 3, but on high line. What that typically happens is he'll try to move in, and you'll see me with that broken rhythm, so he'll try to sway back or lean back. As he's doing that, I can target his hand, or if he decides to take a step back and complete, that leaves his neck or head or his other weapon wide open for that number 3 back cut, which is brutal. And that's how I typically used to execute my back cut on that particular side of things. And there's also Floro fighting systems where if you simply time it well, just putting that window wiper right on the path of your opponent as he tries to attack you, that could pretty much stop his attack and track, giving you time to counter at the same time. UUK Vampire is also picture perfect for snap cuts while going for loptic cuts also. So you could do Wittig, and you could also do loptic. And both cuts lean extremely well to one another, so you really can't go wrong with that. So that's on the forward side of things. The guard, I want to save that for the part 3 where I will have one of my brothers with me tomorrow. So we'll film that section together so I can better explain to you guys in action how this is used with a trainer. Mental note, guys, if you can't practice with a trainer, and thanks to Laci, we have wonderful trainers on the UUK Vampire that I will showcase tomorrow. Now, so there's the guard. Now let's talk about attacking attributes of the UUK Vampire. Another thing is reverse grip. Unlike typical other blades, I'm going to bring out my kudu here as an example. Typically, when you do Filipino martial arts, your reverse grip is not really for distance, all right? And if you do FFS, how we generate distance, thanks to Ray's wonderful teaching, is that we use the FFS grip, and we use our methodology incorporated from Laci Szabo and Western fencing to generate that perfect picture non-telegraphic thrust. That is absolutely what we prefer and what we're best known for. So there's that. But generally in reverse grip, one of my old combat instructors uses, you never do reverse grip because you can't get any distance. Well, that was pre-FFS era of all things. Nowadays that's a different story. But in general essence, in Filipino martial art, your reverse grip is typically reserved for thrusting in close quarter vicinity. With the UK Vampire, for this, in order to generate, I'm just going to do edge out. So, see how with FFS grip it lines up flat and you create that distance, especially if you got that perfect posture, stance, and everything, and speed, distance, timing wins. With a UUK Vampire, this is a completely different story because from here, I'm sorry guys, the camera's, so from, I'm just gonna go slow so you guys can see it. God damn it. So right here, see I can't do this slow, so that's the key thing. You notice that the point meets target at all times. So that's how you should always execute your thrust, and with UK Vampire you can do this so effortlessly and it always hit the point, thus allowing you to generate that FFS thrust like you've been practicing FFS for an extensive period of time. So there you go. Not to mention, it still retains the Vampire still retains the attributes from the original UUK. Thus, you have the palisade curve that you can use to trap limbs using palisade. For those of you who are not FMA trained, palisade is referring to scooping techniques that we FMA practitioners really love because it allows us to trap opponent's limb. And if you know how to play it well, you can go into all sorts of super cool tactical things in close quarter vicinity. There you go guys, so that's the UK Vampire in a nutshell that you can use in offensive manner. Now, why did I choose UK Vampire when adopted as our official combat blade for instinctual fighting system? Because what's going to happen eventually is that, well, not eventually, I'll tell you guys that on Thursday, tomorrow after the outcome, but for those of you who don't know, there will be a video on Thursday that will pretty much give you guys the 4-on-1 on current sit rep for me. But we'll leave that for next time. But for now, this is the review. There you go, guys. On the closing argument, I guess a lot of people ask me is, hey G, so what's the purpose of this? So UK Vampire is a dual blade. It's got the weight and heft of a tomahawk. It's got the cutting capability of a Bowie knife and chopping characteristics of a barong. And also thrusting capability of the very best Arkansas toothpick and also that of an American push dagger. So you have all that and a fighting guard to protect your hand just like a good Bowie knife should have. And a skull crusher puño that can be used for literally everything from crushing someone's skull, pain compliance, to breaking glass, where Laci actually told me it actually was a glass breaker. So there's that capability. For those of you fieldcraft specialists, this is a dual blade where you don't have to pack a hatchet or a skinning knife and yada yada and so on. Allow me to elaborate that a little bit further as this video comes to an end. So if you're in a wilderness situation where you need to break a log so you can actually start fire and stuff, and hello my little fuzzy feathery friend who's eating the grass, sorry, avians. So you simply place the blade on the log and then use the palisade curve and grab a stick and simply whack it to actually split a log. And there's a lot of birds now that's gathering all around me, I don't know why. Alright, thank you guys. So this is the part 1 of the UK Vampire. And I will see you guys on the next one.